So now let's proceed with the next question. Let's see the next question. A particle moves along a straight line OX. At time t, the distance x in meter of the particle from O is given by x is equals to 40 plus 12t minus t cube. How long would the particle travel before coming to rest? This is our question. So let's try to draw out the question. The particle travels in a straight line from O to x. Okay. At time t second, x in meters. And the equation, you remember that clock example I gave you? Clock example during teaching differentiation. So that equation is given by x is equals to 40 plus 12t minus t cube. Okay. How long would the particle travel? Before coming to rest? That means rest, whenever this term rest is mentioned, that means velocity is 0. Whenever the term rest is mentioned, that means velocity is equals to 0. It can be either coming to rest, that means final velocity is equals to 0, or it might be starting from rest, which means initial velocity is equals to 0. Okay. The rest in this chapter means velocity is equals to 0. Coming to rest, final velocity 0, or starting from rest, that means initial velocity is equals to 0. Okay. So that means our velocity would be 0, and our velocity is given by v is equals to dx by dt, or if I differentiate 40, the differentiation of 40 is 0 plus the differentiation of 12t is only 12, and the differentiation of t cube is 3t square. So our velocity came out to be 12 minus 3t square. Okay. So next portion of the problem is at what time will this velocity be 0? So velocity is equals to 0, that means dx by dt is equals to 0, which means 12 minus 3t square is equals to 0. So from here, from these two properties, we can find out 12 minus 3t square is equals to 0. If we solve this, t is equals to 2. See, take 3t square on the right hand side, then 12 divided by 3 is 4, then 4 under root square, 4 square root is 2. So we know that at time is equals to 2 seconds, this particle would come to rest. That means velocity of this particle would be 0. So from 0, t is equals to 0 second to t is equals to 2 second, how long would this particle travel? Okay, this is our question. So therefore, distance traveled is equals to position of the particle at t is equals to 2 seconds minus position of the particle as t is equals to 0 second. So position of the particle at t is equals to 2 minus position of the particle at t is equals to 0 seconds. So let's solve it. Or x t is equals to 2 minus x t is equals to 0. Okay. So our position graph was x is equals to 40 plus 12t minus t cube plus 12t minus t cube. This was given in the question. So x at t is equals to 2, or x at t is equals to 2 is, you have to substitute 2 wherever the time t is there. So x t is equals to 2 is 40 plus 12 into 2 minus 2 cube. 40 plus 12 into 2. 12 into 2 is nothing but 24. So 40 plus 24 is 64. And 64 minus 2 cube. Or 2 cube is nothing but 8. 64 minus 8 is 56. So, meter. Now, let's find out x at t is equals to 0. At t is equals to 0, 40 plus 12 into 0 minus 0 cube. Okay, our answer comes out to be 40 meter. Therefore, distance traveled or displacement is equals to 56 minus 40, which is equals to 16 meters. So our correct option is option number D. See, in some books the answer is given as option number C, which is 56. That is usually wrong. Okay, thus in books, in whichever book the solution is given as 56 meters is usually wrong. X is nothing but the position from the origin vector. This x is nothing but the position from the origin point. Okay, and displacement is nothing but difference of position vector. So this will be higher thing to learn, but why those solutions are wrong, that was the answer. Okay. Now let's look at the next question. The displacement x of a particle varies with time t as x equals to a e to the power minus alpha t plus b e to the power beta t, where a, b, alpha and beta are positive constant. The velocity of the particle will, so they gave us an equation, of position vector, okay, where alpha, beta, a and b are constant. The velocity of the particle will be, okay, so to find out the velocity we need to differentiate with respect to time. So velocity is equals to dx by dt. Or you have to differentiate this equation, with respect to time. Okay, so d a e to the power minus alpha t plus b beta, not beta, b, okay, plus b e to the power beta t. We have to differentiate this with respect to time. So while differentiating, the differentiation comes out to be a into minus alpha into e to the power minus alpha t, okay, plus b into beta into e to the power beta t. Our velocity comes as v is equals to minus a alpha e to the power minus alpha t plus b beta e to the power beta t. Now look at this equation. Velocity is equals to minus a alpha e to the power minus alpha t plus b beta e to the power beta t. And they are asking find out the velocity. Sir, I don't know how to solve this. I don't know how this curve occurs, or I don't know how this plot occurs. Good for you. Even I don't know. Okay. So let's check the option. The option A is decreases with time. Option B is independent of alpha and beta. Option C is drop to 0 when A is equals to B. And option D is increases with time. Okay. So let's look at option number A and D. Decreases with time and increases with time. Okay. So whenever in your entire physics curriculum, okay, a equation is given and it is asked that it increases with time or decreases with time, or increases with the parameter or decreases with the parameter, there is some concept. Okay, there is a trick. Not a concept but a trick. The concept is much more much more elaborate, that will learn in higher physics, called higher mathematics. The subject is called monotonicity. Okay, but for now, apply this trickery. Okay, suppose a function is given and it is decreasing or increasing with time. I don't know. It might be decreasing with time or increasing with time. Okay, this is xt. I don't know, it is either decreasing or increasing with time. So what we do is, we take t is equals to 0, t is equals to 0, and find out the value of x. Out here, these two are different graphs. Okay, this graph and this graph are different graph of different function. I'm telling you how to determine it increases with the parameter or decreases with the parameter. Okay, first you take t is equals to, first you find out the value of x at t is equals to 0. Next what you do is find out a higher value of t is equals to, suppose 10 or 20, something greater than 0, and you find out the value of x. Okay, so if x of t is equals to 0 is greater than x at t greater than 0, that means higher value of time. Greater than 0 means 10 seconds or 20 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever you take your time. Then the graph is decreasing. And if similarly opposite things happen, if x at t is equals to 0 is lesser than x at t greater than 0, that means graph is increasing. Okay. Is this trick always applicable? The answer is no. It will be applicable in 99% of your curriculum. Just look out for this function, types of function. Okay, not applicable for functions or graphs or equation containing sin x, cos x, tan x, or any trigonometric function. Okay, cosec x. Okay, so if trigonometric function is given inside this graph or given inside this equation, that means this type of trickery will not work. Okay, so let's copy the equation. And try to solve it. This is our equation of velocity. V is equals to minus a alpha e to the power minus alpha t plus b beta e to the power beta t. Now let's check option number A. Decreases with time. So at time t is equals to 0 second. Velocity is equals to minus a alpha e to the power minus alpha into 0. Okay, plus b beta e to the power beta into 0. Okay, this comes out to be minus a alpha. Anything raised to the power 0 is 1 except 0 to the power 0. Okay, that is, I don't know what is 0. Means not only I, the entire mathematical community doesn't know what 0 raised to the power 0 is. It is called indeterminate. Okay, so everything raised to the power 0 is 1, or anything raised to the power 0 is 1, with only one exception, that is 0 raised to the power 0. Okay, so minus alpha into a into e to the power minus alpha into 0, that means becomes e to the power 0 plus beta b e to the power 0, which comes out to be minus alpha a e to the power 0 becomes 1 plus beta b. Okay. Now We found out at t is equals to 0. Now we'll find out at t is equals to some higher number than 0. Let's say that number is infinity. Okay, so why infinity? You could also take 10 or 20. Okay, why only infinity? Do you know the value of e to the power 10? Even if you know, you don't know the value of a, alpha, b and beta. Okay, so you have to take very large number in order, because a, alpha, b and beta, whatever they are numbers and they are constant. So if you take within a limiting range, within a number system, that means you can tally the value. That means either b, if b is greater than this. So what we know is a, alpha, b and beta are not infinity, are always lesser than infinity. So if you take t is equals to infinity and our answer comes out to be infinity, that means our time or our this velocity increases with time. So let's check at t is equals to infinity. V is equals to minus a alpha e to the power minus alpha into infinity plus b beta e to the power beta into infinity. Okay, now this term e to the power minus alpha into infinity. Okay, let's check out this term e to the power minus alpha into infinity. Okay, alpha into infinity is equals to 1 by e to the power alpha into infinity, or alpha is nothing but a constant or limited number. Okay, so anything multiplied by infinity is infinity. So 1 by e to the power infinity. So 1 by e to the power infinity is nothing but 1 by infinity, because anything raised to the power infinity is also infinity, which is equals to 0. Because any finite number divided by a very large number, suppose infinity, very large number, is always equals to 0. Okay, so this term becomes 0 and anything multiplied by 0 is 0. Now let's check out for this term b beta e to the power beta into infinity. See, this directly becomes b beta into e to the power infinity, which is a very large number, which is equals to infinity. Okay, which is equals to infinity. Okay, so our velocity comes out to be velocity at infinity, at time is equals to infinity, is equals to infinity. Okay, now let's take the two values of velocity we obtained. Velocity at time t is equals to 0 is equals to minus a alpha plus b beta. Velocity at time t is equals to infinity is equals to infinity. So this, whatever this value might be, a alpha plus b beta, whatever this value might be, it has some value. It may be 10, 20, 30, 1000, 2000, whatever. But at t is equals to infinity, that means our velocity became infinity, means it's very large, it's keep on increasing. That means decreases with time is the wrong answer. Okay, decreases with time is the wrong answer, because our velocity at infinity became very large. Okay, well, that should be the opposite case. So if our option A became wrong, automatically our option D is the correct answer. But still, we'll check for option C and option B. Let's look at option number B. Be independent of alpha and beta. That means they are asking velocity is independent of alpha and beta. See this velocity. Velocity is equals to minus alpha minus a alpha e to the power minus alpha t plus b beta e to the power beta t. Are these independent of alpha and beta? That means, does this velocity equation contain the term alpha and beta, If yes, it is dependent. If no, it is independent. Because they contain the term alpha and beta out here, out here. Okay? That means it is not independent. It is dependent on alpha and beta. Number C. Let's check option number C. Drops to 0 when alpha is equals to beta. So, you can either check this option by turning everything into beta or everything into alpha. V is equals to minus A alpha e to the power minus alpha t plus B beta e to the power beta t. Now, either convert everything to alpha or convert everything to beta. The answer will come out to be similar. Okay? The conclusion will come out to be similar. Okay? Minus A alpha e to the power minus alpha t. I am converting everything to alpha. Plus B alpha e to the power alpha t. Okay? Now let's check this. Up till here the terms are equal. Alpha e to the power minus alpha t and alpha e to the power alpha t are okay, are similar. But A and B are different. A and B are different. So this will not be equals to 0. So our option number C is also wrong. Okay. So let's proceed to the next question. A particle moves along a straight line such that its displacement at any time t is given by s is equals to 3t cube plus 7t square plus 14t plus 5. The acceleration of the particle at time t is equals to 1. That means we already know velocity is equals to ds by dt or differentiation of displacement with respect to time, and acceleration is equals to dv by dt. Velocity is equals to ds by dt and acceleration is equals to dv by dt. ds or dx I am writing, since in my formula I am writing dx, that's why I am giving you dx. Okay, in the question they can give you anything, both represent the same variable. So let's find out first the velocity. The velocity is equals to the differentiation of 3t cube becomes 3 into 3 9 t raised to the power 3 minus 1, that means 2, plus 7t square becomes 7 into 2, which is 14 t raised to the power 2 minus 1, that means t to the power 1, plus 14, plus differentiation of constant becomes 0. Okay. Now acceleration means we have to differentiate this equation 9t square plus 14t plus 14. We have to differentiate this equation with respect to time. So let's do that, because acceleration is nothing but dv by dt. Okay, so let's do it. The differentiation of 9t square becomes 9 into 2 18 t to the power minus 1 plus 40. Okay, now they are asking the acceleration of the particle at time t is equals to 1 second. So at t is equals to 1 second, so therefore acceleration at time t is equals to 1 second, we have to substitute t is equals to 1 out here. Okay, in this equation 18 into 1 plus 14, or 18 into t, which becomes 1 second, plus 14, or is equals to 18 plus 14. 18 plus 14 is nothing but 32. Okay, so our correct option is option number B. Our correct option is option number B. So let's repeat what I did out here again in the previous question. Okay, I'm sensing some. See, in the previous question, when I obtained the velocity, alpha minus a alpha e to the power minus alpha t plus b beta e to the power beta t. There is a trick. This is not a concept. Okay, the proper concept is called monotonicity, and if you begin learning that, you will forget your physics syllabus. Okay, there is a trick. Whenever increasing or decreasing is given, just put out the values of 0 and some higher number and then check out the conclusion. Okay, after that we did this acceleration. Acceleration is nothing but you have to differentiate, you have to find out the velocity and differentiate the velocity. That means what you are doing is differentiating this displacement 2 times with respect to t. Okay, so let's read out the next question. The position x of a particle varies with time t as x is equals to at square minus bt cube. The acceleration of the particle is, so it is the same type of question. You see what I am doing? I am differentiating this position equation 2 times. The first time we get velocity, and the second time we get acceleration, dv by dt. See, this acceleration is nothing but this position equation differentiated 2 times. Okay, so this in some books also might be written as, this in some books can be written as d square x by dt square. Okay, just make sure this is not equals to, d square x by dt square is not equals to dx by dt whole square. Okay, but d square x by dt square means you have to differentiate this x 2 times. Okay, or it can be simply written as d by dt and you are differentiating again dx by dt. Okay, and in some books, suppose where you face a lot of differentiation, that means acceleration can be given as or represented as a double dash or double dot. That means x or position is differentiated with respect to time 2 times or 2 dot. Okay, now since this, just make a note of this, convention. In some books it is given as d square x by dt square, and in some books it is given as a is equals to x followed by 2 dots. Okay, now let's check. Our velocity is given as a t square, so 2at minus 3bt square. This is our velocity. We obtained it by differentiating at square minus bt cube. Okay, we obtained the velocity by differentiating at square minus bt cube. At square becomes 2at and minus bt cube becomes minus 3bt square. Okay, now similarly acceleration is obtained by differentiating this equation. Which is 2a minus 6, 3 to the 6 bt. Okay, so the acceleration, the question is given the acceleration of the particle will be 0. That means a is equals to 0, find out the time t, or 2a minus 6b, let's write it properly, which means 2a minus 6bt is equals to 0, or 2a is equals to 6bt, or t is equals to a by 3b, or a by 3b is equals to t. So our correct option is option number B. So at time t is equals to a by b seconds, a by 3b seconds, our acceleration would be equals to 0. Okay. So let's move on to a next question. A particle moves along a straight line such that its displacement at any time t is given by s is equals to t cube minus 6t square plus 3t plus 4. The velocity when the acceleration is 0. That means they are asking find out the velocity when the acceleration is 0. So we know that velocity is given by ds by dt. Okay, and when you differentiate this equation, it comes as 3t square minus 12t plus 3, and the differentiation of 4 becomes 0. You can write plus 0, but it doesn't make any sense to waste. Acceleration is equals to, you have to differentiate this 3t square minus 12t plus 3 with respect to time. So 6t minus 12 plus 3 becomes 0. Now when acceleration is equals to 0, you need to find out the velocity. So the proper way to do is acceleration is equals to 0 and find out the time when acceleration is equals to 0. So time becomes t is equals to 2 seconds. When acceleration is equals to 0, 6t minus 12 is equals to 0. That means if we solve for t, so at that time t is equals to 2, the acceleration is equals to 0. The acceleration of this motion is equals to 0. So the question is asking find the velocity when the acceleration is equals to 0 or when at t is equals to 2 seconds. So the velocity is given by first equation. In order to find out the velocity is, we have to substitute t is equals to 2 in this equation. We have to substitute t is equals to 2 in this equation. Okay. So 3t square. T square means into 2 square. Minus 12 into 2 plus 3. So let's check what our answer comes out. 2 square is 4. 4 into 3 is 12. Minus 12 to the 24. Plus 3. Okay. 12 plus 3 is 15. And 15 minus 24 is minus 9. Or minus 9 meter per second. So our correct option is option number D. Okay. Our correct option is option number D. Now we'll learn a little bit details about a mathematical topic. Okay, we'll learn with need to know basis. That means the only things you need to know. Okay. So let's start with the next topic. In the next topic, we'll learn about a little bit of mathematical concept that you have to learn on need to know basis. That means only learn the things that I'm showing you. Okay, you don't need to go into details. You just need to remember the important, important concept. Concept means there is a formula. If that formula satisfies the equation, that means this happens or that happens. So basic concept of maxima and minima. So the name of our mathematical topic is basic concept of maxima and minima. Maxima and minima in graphs. This is the name of our topic. Okay. Now suppose a graph is given by, suppose a graph is given by the equation x is equals to 9t square minus t cube. Okay, x equals to 9t square minus t cube. Suppose this is the equation of the graph. Okay, so I know how this graph looks like. I know how this graph looks like. Now you say, but sir, we don't know how this graphs look like. Good for you. You don't need to know. You just need to know the concept. Okay. Now observe something. Observe something. At this point, the tangent to this graph or the slope or the slope is horizontal. That means is parallel to x-axis. That means the slope is equals to 0. Out here, slope is equals to 0. And out here also, see, slope is equals to 0. Slope is equals to 0. Okay. So let's suppose this is a point where slope is equals to 0, or this is a position of x versus t. This is a graph of x versus t. So at time t is equals to a seconds or 5 seconds or whatever time that is, the slope becomes 0. Okay, the slope becomes 0. So whenever the slope becomes 0, the graph is either at its maximum value or at its minimum value. See, the main concept out here is, the main concept you have to observe out here is, whenever the slope becomes 0 in a graph, whenever the slope becomes 0 in a graph, the value of that point is either its maximum value. See, out here it's the maximum value of this graph, or its minimum value, So we can safely write at maximum and minimum value, the slope of graph becomes 0, is equals to 0. Okay, you can safely write this. Okay, so mathematically, if you want to write this as mathematically or in mathematics, for maxima and minima, for maxima is nothing but when the value of this graph becomes maximum, and minima the slope becomes 0, or that, which means dx by dt is equals to 0. Okay, so some important confusion that will appear out here is, sir, how do you know it is the maximum or minimum value? It is outside your syllabus. Okay, you have to differentiate it again, then find out if it is less than 0, that means it is maximum value. You don't need to remember what I am saying. Okay, just this is a chapter called monotonicity. We'll learn it later. JEE students will learn it later. NEET students will not learn it. So the best trick to solve this is need to know basis. That means you only need to know that for maxima or minima, you differentiate the graph and the slope becomes 0. Okay, and when the slope becomes 0, that value is either maxima or minima, and the question will either ask you for maxima or minima. It won't ask you both at the same time. Okay, it won't ask you both at the same time. So you don't need to remember the double differentiation right now or in your curriculum. Now, this observation is valid for all types of graphs. Okay, now this observation is valid for all types of graph. All types of graph. This observation is valid for all types of graph. So at maximum and minimum of the graph, the slope is always equals to 0. That means whichever graph it is, suppose I change the graph to something like this, okay, and the equation of the graph is given as x is equals to something that I don't care right now. So write down a note, at a maxima and minima, at maxima and minima and minima, at maxima and minima, dy by dx or slope is always equals to 0. dy by dx means nothing but this graph was plotted with yx. That means y is equals to 3x square minus 4x, or y in this axis and x is this axis. Okay, whatever, something, let's say you can give this equation something with same constant. Okay, so let's use this concept in the next question. The position x of a particle with respect to time along x-axis is given by x is equals to 9t square minus t cube, where x is in meters and t is in seconds. What will be the position of this particle when it achieves a maximum speed along plus x direction? That means the maximum speed will be obtained when maximum speed or velocity, okay, let's say velocity because you are more familiar with the term velocity. Both are little bit different. It's a difference of scalar and vector, but I am using velocity because by now you are more familiar with the term velocity. Maximum velocity is when dv by dt is equals to 0, or slope of velocity time graph becomes 0. Okay, slope of velocity time graph becomes 0. So but out here it is given position time graph. So for the position time graph we have to convert it into velocity. So velocity is given by dx by dt. dx by dt is 18t, 90 square becomes 18t minus 3t square minus 3t square. This is our equation of velocity. Now when dv by dt is equals to 0, then only maximum amount of velocity is equals to, we get the maximum amount of velocity. So when dv by dt is equals to 0, or differentiation of this graph or this equation is equals to 0, we obtained the maximum velocity. Or let's differentiate this equation. 18t becomes 18 minus 3t square becomes 6t, which is equals to 0. Or t is equals to 18 by 6, which is equals to 3 seconds. So at t is equals to 3 seconds, we will get the maximum velocity. So what will be the position of this particle when the maximum speed along x-axis, when it achieves maximum speed along x direction? That means the question is asking find the position when at time t is equals to 3. Okay, find the position of this particle at time t is equals to 3. But it just twisted the question that at time t is equals to 3, the particle will obtain maximum velocity. Okay, so at x time t is equals to 3, 9 into 3 square minus 3 cube. Okay, So this becomes 9 9s are 81 minus 3 cube is nothing but 27. Okay? So 81 minus 27 is nothing but 54. 54. So our correct option is option number B. Okay? So next we need to do some revision of graphs that we studied earlier. So let's revise those graphs again. Let's revise those graphs again. Revision. If you look back on your notes, we'll find these graphs. XT graph, XT graph, then VT graph and AT graph. AT graph. Okay. So the first thing is slope of XT curve or slope of XT curve. Slope of XT curve or dx by dt is equals to velocity at that point t where the slope is taken, or dx by dt is equals to slope at that time t where the slope is taken. Okay. Similarly, slope of VT curve is acceleration. Slope of VT curve at time t is equals to acceleration at time t, or dv by dt. dv by dt is equals to slope at that time t where the slope is taken. Okay. Now point number C. Area under the curve. Area under the curve. Area under the AT curve. Area under the curve or area under the AT curve, which is given by A dt is equals to dv, which is change in velocity from starting point of that area to ending point of that area, or change in velocity at starting point of t to ending point of t, to ending point of t. Okay, and d is nothing but the same concept, but it applies to displacement. Area under the VT curve, area under the VT curve, under the VT curve, or VDT. VDT is equals to dx is nothing but change in displacement from t is equals to 0 to t is equals to 1, or change in position vector. Change in, say, displacement. Change in displacement. Displacement is nothing but subtraction of position vectors. Okay, you don't need to memorize all that. Just remember that whenever x is given, x is usually the distance from origin. Distance from origin point. Okay, x is usually the distance from origin point. Now let's look at the next question. A car accelerates at a A car accelerates from rest at a constant rate of alpha for some time, after which it decelerates at a constant rate of b and comes to rest. If the total time t elapsed is t, then the maximum velocity acquired by the car is. So, whenever multiple velocities or multiple acceleration are given in a question, the best way to solve it is by constructing graph. Okay, so whenever multiple acceleration, see alpha and beta, multiple acceleration are given in a graph, the best way to solve those graph is by drawing. The best way to solve those question is by drawing graph. Okay, so I'm writing this trick down. Make a note. Trick. Whenever multiple velocities or multiple acceleration is given in question, whenever multiple velocities or multiple acceleration is given in question, the best way to solve this is by constructing graph. The best way to solve it is by constructing graph. Okay, this is our trick. So let's try to draw out the acceleration time graph from this question. So in the y-axis we'll give acceleration. So acceleration time. The y-axis represents acceleration and the x-axis represents time. So let's read the question. A car accelerates from rest. Okay, that means initial velocity is equals to 0. Okay, and initial velocity is equals to 0. Okay, a car starts from rest at a constant acceleration for some time. That means the acceleration A is constant for some time, and the value of that acceleration is alpha. For some time, after which it decelerates at a constant rate of b. So deceleration is nothing but negative acceleration. That means the velocity is, I told you to make a trick that imagine acceleration as a consequence of force. Imagine acceleration as a consequence of force. Deceleration is nothing but the velocity is trying to move it in this way and the acceleration is trying to stop it. That means the velocity will reduce over time. Okay, deceleration means the body is trying to move and the force is trying to move the body faster and faster. So velocity will increase faster and faster. Deceleration or retardation or negative acceleration means the body is trying to move. Okay, the body is trying to move and the force is trying to stop it. That means the velocity will keep on stopping, means keep on decreasing after a certain time. So negative acceleration or deceleration or retardation is given at the negative axis. Okay, is given at the negative axis. So this is alpha, retardation is beta. Okay, this is alpha, retardation. Beta means the value of acceleration at this point is beta. Alpha means the value of acceleration for this graph is alpha. Okay, this is our acceleration time graph. Okay, now after a certain time, let that time be s, because I don't know what time it is. I mean, after which time they change the acceleration, I don't know. after which time they change the acceleration. Now let's copy this graph again. I drew out the AT graph, reasonably good. Okay. Now I need to make few observation. We need to make few observation. Okay. The acceleration is constant till time t or till time s. Okay. And value till let's convert this to p and t. Instead of s, I am writing p because it might create confusion with displacement. Okay. The acceleration is constant till the value p, okay, with positive alpha, and after time p, after this time p, the acceleration changes its value to b, negative b. Okay. So observation 1 is the acceleration is constant with value with value positive alpha till time p, and after time p, the acceleration changes its value to negative b, becomes minus b. Okay. Second thing you need to know about graphs is slope of a straight line is a constant. That means the slope of this, if we integrate this line from t is equals to 0, if we integrate this line from t is equals to 0 to t is equals to p, the integral equation will come some straight line. Okay, any straight line might be like this or it might go like this, but it will be a straight line. The integral of this line from t is equals to 0 to t is equals to t will be a straight line. So that means whenever you differentiate a straight line, we get some constant acceleration. Okay. So in graph, slope of a straight line is constant throughout the line. Slope of a straight line is constant throughout the line. Is constant throughout the line. That means how should the VT graph look so that we obtain constant acceleration? That means the VT graph would be considered a straight line, some straight line which we differentiated and we got a constant acceleration till time t. Okay, or the integral of a constant acceleration is any straight line. Now some mathematical or some graphical concept you need to know is any line that represents like this or this, that means that is slanting on the right hand side towards x axis has positive slopes, and any graph that looks like this, that means that is slanting towards the left hand side, has negative slope. See, for positive slope the graph is slanting with respect to or in the right hand side, and in the negative slope the graph is slanting to the left side. Okay. Now point number 4, that is in the question, at rest velocity is always equals to 0. Okay, at rest velocity always equals to 0. Now using this 3 observation, let's try to construct the velocity time graph. Okay, let's try to construct the, okay, let's try to copy the acceleration time graph again, and from acceleration time graph we try to construct velocity time graph. Okay. From acceleration time graph we try to construct velocity time graph. So this is velocity time. Okay, so till t is equals to p seconds, or till t is equals to p seconds. Okay, till t is equals to p second, we had a constant acceleration of alpha. That means our straight line would be something like this. Okay, our straight line would go something like this. But where would it start from? But where would the straight line start from? So in order to get that hint, let's look at the question. A car accelerates from rest. That means at time t is equals to 0, v is equals to 0. Okay, so we got the starting point of the graph. At time t is equals to 0, v is equals to 0. Now it is a straight line till point t is equals to p. Okay, now after t it becomes negative. Negative means negative b. So after t it becomes negative b, but where would we end the graph? We can end the graph out here. We can end the graph out here. But where do we end the graph at time t? Okay, so let's look. It decelerates at constant rate and comes to rest. That means final velocity is also equals to 0. That means after deceleration or after negative acceleration, the particle comes to rest. Okay, this is our velocity time graph. So from the graph, some students might have a doubt that why did I start the B graph from at this point? Because at time p there is the velocity v, and there won't be sudden change in velocity. The force will take its time to reduce the velocity. So at time t, the velocity of the particle will be whatever the velocity it increased up till here. Okay, so we start the graph from here for this line. Okay, now at this point you obtain the value of maximum velocity. At this point you obtain the value of maximum velocity. Okay, at this point you obtain the value of maximum velocity. So the question is asking, read the question again. The question is asking the maximum velocity of the car is. Okay, so the maximum velocity of the car is Vmax is nothing but A into P. Okay, or alpha into time 0 to p, or alpha into time 0 to p is nothing but Vmax. How do you obtain this? Means what sort of formula is this? Vmax is equals to 0 into time is equals to p minus 0, sorry. Time is equals to final time minus initial time. See this acceleration time graph. Acceleration time graph, the area under this acceleration time graph is nothing but the change in velocity from out here to out here. So that means Vmax minus V0 is equals to area under this acceleration time graph, or which is equals to alpha into p minus 0. Okay, alpha into p minus 0. Now the total time it takes is t is equals to t. It is given in the question. See, the total time taken by the particle is t is equals to t. Okay, let's read the question. After which it comes to the total time elapsed is t. That means total time taken to cover this, means cover the entire journey, is equals to t. But we don't know what is the value of p. Okay, we don't know what is the value of p. However, we know one thing. We know one thing, that whatever might be the value of p, okay, the particle started from rest and ended at rest. So whatever might be the value of Vmax, okay, Vmax minus 0 or 0 minus Vmax is equals to area under this curve, or Vmax minus 0 is equals to area under this curve. That means area under this curve would be equals to area under this curve. See, from head to head, Vmax minus 0 is equals to area under this curve, and 0 minus Vmax is equals to area under this curve. Okay, we know these two things. We know these two things. So let's try to solve it. Area under the 0p curve or 0p time, or area under the A curve. So area under alpha curve, or area under alpha into p minus 0 is equals to Vmax minus 0. Okay, and area under beta curve, or t minus p, final time minus initial time, is equals to 0 minus Vmax. Okay, now in integration there is an important concept. We say area is under, but integration this area is minus, taken as minus. In integration, whenever the area is above the x-axis, it is called positive area. It is called positive area. And whenever the area is below the x-axis, it is called negative area. Okay, in entire integration, whenever the area is above x-axis, it is called positive area, and whenever the area is below x-axis, it is called negative area. Okay, so from logic we can say the magnitude of this area, is equals to the magnitude of this area. Okay, so by observation we can say area under alpha into p minus 0 is equals to area under beta into t minus p. Okay, so we can say alpha into p minus 0 is equals to beta into t minus p. Okay, or you can solve this as alpha p is equals to beta t minus beta p. Okay, now we need to solve for p. Okay, let's solve for t. So we send the p to this bp to the left hand side. So alpha p, or alpha p plus beta p is equals to beta t. Okay, alpha p plus beta t is equals to beta p, or p is equals to, you can take the p common out here, p is equals to beta t by alpha plus beta. Okay, we took the p common from alpha and beta t is equals to beta t by alpha plus beta. Okay, now let's copy this in the next page. We obtain p is equals to beta t plus is equals to beta t by alpha plus beta, and from the graph and from this acceleration graph we obtained velocity maximum or area under or alpha into p minus 0 is equals to v max minus v0. See this graph. We obtained this thing. We obtained these two equations from previous graph, or alpha into p minus 0 is equals to v max, and the question is asking for v max. So if we substitute the value of p, out here, we will get the value of v max. Alpha is equals to beta t by alpha plus beta, which is equals to v max. Okay, so our correct option is option number D, alpha beta t by alpha plus beta. Okay, now let's look at the next question. A particle shows distance time curve as given in this figure. The maximum instantaneous velocity of the particle is around the point. Okay, I need to make one more note. Make a note that steeper the curve or more vertical the curve, more is its slope. Suppose there is a curve, xt curve, okay? Xt curve. Now this is one graph, okay? This is one graph. Suppose displacement of body A, this is displacement of body B. Steeper the curve, greater is the slope, okay? Steeper the curve, greater is the slope. Okay, when the curve becomes full vertical, that means slope is equals to infinity, or mathematically by maths, dx by dt for A, for the graph A, is lesser than dx by dt for the graph of B. Okay, so in this question, the thing they are asking is, a particle shows distance time curve as shown in this figure. The maximum instantaneous velocity of the particle is around that point. That means to find the maximum instantaneous velocity, you have to draw the slope at all points. Let's draw the slope at A. The slope at A gives us something like this. The slope at B gives us something like this. Okay? Sorry, the slope of B gives us something like this. The slope of C gives us something like this. Okay, and the slope of D is like this. Okay. So we can clearly see this slope is steeper than the rest, is more vertical than the rest of them. This slope or slope of C is more vertical than the rest of them. Therefore, our correct option is option number B, which says at point C will have maximum velocity. Okay, because velocity is nothing but dx by dt, and the question is asking when will this v be maximum. This v will be maximum when this dx by dt is the steepest. Okay, is the steepest, because this is a displacement time graph. So let's look at the next question. The displacement time graph of a moving particle is shown below. Okay, the instantaneous velocity of the particle is negative at a point. Okay, write one more point. Right, one more point. Okay, if theta is greater than 90, that means you all saw that negative slope in the previous question I determined. The line was leaning to the left hand side. That means theta is greater than 90. See all those lines. In that alpha beta problem, I said whenever the line is leaning to the left, that means our slope is negative. That means theta is always greater than 90. Okay, that means negative slope. Negative slope, or the value of, suppose this is a xt graph, the value of dx by dt is negative. Okay, now the displacement time graph is given where the instantaneous velocity of the particle is negative. That means velocity is given by dx by dt, and the question is asking when is the value of dx by dt negative. We can clearly say this is positive. Okay, at C, at D it is positive, at E it is negative. See, and at F it is positive. Okay, see, at E it is negative. That means our correct option is option number D. Okay. Now, which of the following curves does not represent motion in one dimension? Okay, you need to understand one more. You need to remember one more trick out here. Okay, make a note. Make a note. See, I am specifically telling this about xt, vt or at curve. Okay, not dv by dx curve. Okay, not velocity displacement curve. Only curve with respect to time displacement or time velocity or time and acceleration. Okay, no, the point is no xt, vt and at curve, no xt, vt or at curve can have two values on y-axis for a single value in the x-axis. Can have two values in y-axis for a single value in x-axis. Okay? Let's write this value little bit properly. Okay, that means any vertical line, that means in any vertical line in the graph, the vertical line should not cross between 2 points in the curve. Any vertical line should not cross the curve more than one times, or should cross the curve exactly once. Should cross the curve. Let's make a positive statement. Should cross the curve exactly once. That means if any vertical line is crossing more than 2 times, that means the curve is not valid. And point number 3, this equation is only valid for xt, vt and at, not dv, not valid for dv by dx curve or dv by dx curve. You remember the acceleration is also given by v dv by dx. So this logic is not applicable for dv by dx graph. Okay, so let's draw a vertical line. Only once. This also only once. But out here, this vertical line crosses this curve at this point and this point, which is more than once. That means our option C is correct. That means this graph cannot represent motion in one dimension. Okay. After this, we'll take a little bit of break. So now, let's begin with the next topic. Our next topic consists of special forms of motion where acceleration are constant. Special forms of motion or special cases of motion where the acceleration is constant throughout the motion. So now we'll learn about special case where the acceleration is constant. We'll learn about 3 formulas. The 3 formulas will be applied to solve various questions, but the main thing to remember on these 3 formulas is that acceleration is always equals to constant. So the first formula is, say you know that acceleration integrated over time gives us change in velocity. We know that. And v is the final velocity, u is the initial velocity. T is the time at final position or final time, and 0 is the initial time. Okay, so this can also be, suppose this A is a constant. So this can also be written as A into T, okay, T initial to T final is equals to V, where V initial is equals to U and V final is equals to V. This can be written as A into T minus 0 into V minus E, okay, or AT is equals to V minus E, or V is equals to U plus AT. This is our first formula. Okay. Now second formula. The second formula is similarly V dt is equals to dx, or change in displacement from t is equals to 0 to time is equals to t. X is equals to 0 to x is equals to some displacement s. Okay, some displacement s. So now from the previous equation we obtained v is equals to u plus at. So we can substitute this v, we can substitute the value of this v out here. You can substitute the value of this v out here. So u plus at, which is the value of v, into dt is equals to dx. The limits are from time t is equals to 0 to time t is equals to t, and out here from position x equals to 0 to position x equals to s. Okay, so let's integrate this, or u dt, the integration of u dt is ut, plus at, the integration of at is nothing but at square by 2 is equals to, on the right hand side we get s minus 0. So this formula can be written as s is equals to ut plus half at square. This is our second most important formula that we obtained out here. Second most important formula that we obtained out here. And the third formula is, the first formula is a dt is equals to dv, we obtained v is equals to u plus at. The second formula, v dt is equals to integral of dx, and we obtained s is equals to ut plus half at square. And in the third option, v square, the formula is v square is equals to u square plus 2s. Sir, you are very clever. The third formula didn't give the derivation. So this is derived from work energy theorem, which will be taught in later. Okay, just remember, in what there is a theorem called work energy theorem, but change in kinetic energy is equals to work done by all the forces. Change in kinetic energy is equals to work done by all the forces. By all the forces. Okay, change in kinetic energy is nothing but half m v final square, or mv square, minus half m u. U is nothing but initial velocity square, is equals to work done by all the forces, and work done is equals to force into displacement. So net force would be inertial force, which is given by ma. Inertial force is given by ma, and the displacement is given by s, and the displacement is given by s. Okay, so let's check. This m and this m gets cut out. These two go on the right hand side, or v square minus u square. The third formula will be taught in later chapters. Okay, do not worry about the third formula. Just remember the conclusion of the third formula, or just remember what is in the box. Okay, just remember what is in the box and how to apply this formula. You don't need to remember the derivation of this formula. I am just trying to show off by deriving. Okay, v square is equals to u square plus 2as. 2as. Out here there was a 2. Out here there was some 2. Okay. So let's revise what we have done again. We have to only remember these three formulas. V is equals to u plus at, formula number 2. S is equals to ut plus half at square, and formula number 3. V square is equals to u square plus 2as. These are the three formulas that we have to remember in this chapter. Nothing more, nothing less. Where v is the final velocity, where v is the final velocity. U is nothing but the initial velocity. Initial velocity. Now A is nothing but the acceleration. Acceleration. ACCLERATION. Acceleration. Okay. Now this is, remember, one of the most important areas where most of you get confused. This s is nothing but displacement. Okay, not distance. This s is displacement. Displacement. That means final position minus initial position. final position minus initial position. Okay, and these three formulas are only applicable when the acceleration is constant. Okay, so this displacement, write down properly. Displacement, I'm writing this down properly. Okay, displacement is given by final position minus initial position. Okay, remember this displacement do not depend upon the path taken. That means these three formulas, v is equals to u plus at, s is equals to ut plus half at square, and v square is equals to u square plus 2as. S out here is the displacement. That displacement is nothing but final position minus initial position, and displacement do not depend upon path. Okay, I am highlighting this portion also. Okay, so let's read a question. A small block slides down a smooth inclined plane. Starting from rest means initial velocity is equals to 0. Okay, starting from rest at time t is equals to 0. Let Sn be the distance travelled by the block in the interval t is equals to n minus 1 to t is equals to n. So what this question said was, this is a block upon a incline. Incline is suppose say angle theta. Now if this block is kept upon this incline, there will be an acceleration on this block. If the incline is a smooth incline, and acceleration is nothing but g sine theta. Okay, so how did you arrive that? Okay, this will be taught in Newton's law of motion, but for now just remember acceleration is equals to g sine theta, and don't focus on this. Okay, we will be needing this few more important concepts will be covered in this question only. Just for here, just remember a is equals to acceleration out here is equals to g sine theta, which won't be bothering much or mattering much. Okay, the initial velocity at time t is equals to 0 is equals to u is equals to 0. So initial velocity is 0 and the acceleration is g sine theta. So we can safely write s is equals to ut plus half at square. Okay, s is equals to ut plus half at square. Okay, now see the question. Let Sn be the distance travelled by the block in the interval t is equals to n minus 1 to t is equals to n second. So distance travelled by the block, distance or displacement of the block, sorry. If it is a straight line, distance is equals to displacement. If the position of the particle moves in a straight line, then distance of the particle is equals to displacement of the particle. Okay, in a straight line means it is not moving to and fro, it is going in a straight line. Okay, so displacement of the particle from t is equals to 0 to t is equals to n. Okay, so s 0 to n is equals to ut. Ut is nothing but 0. Why? Because the initial velocity is 0, plus half at square. A is nothing but g sine theta, and n is nothing but the time. T square is nothing but n square, because this is final velocity square. You understood how u2 became 0? U is because initial velocity. U is the initial velocity which is equals to 0. So let me write it properly. Ut, where u is equals to 0 and t is equals to n. Okay, and acceleration is equals to g sine theta. Okay, now let this be s1. Let this be s1. So we can easily find out. S1 is equals to 0 plus half n square g sine theta. This one is the value of S1. Okay. Similarly, displacement of the particle from time t is equals to 0 to time t is equals to n minus 1 would be written as S2. Or S2 is equals to ut plus half at square, where u is 0 and t is n minus 1. A is g sine theta. Always remember, v square is equals to u square plus 2as, v is equals to u plus at, and s is equals to ut plus half at square is always calculated from t is equals to 0. Okay, and displacement is equals to 0. The starting point of this equation is always time is equals to 0 and displacement is equals to 0, and the ending point is given by s and t. Okay, that's why I did the derivation. Okay, now so S2 is the displacement from t is equals to 0 to t is equals to n minus 1 is equals to 0 plus half g sine theta into n minus 1 square This is our S2, or we can neatly write it as S2 is equals to half n minus 1 square into g sine theta. Okay. Now look at the question properly. It is given, let Sn be the distance travelled by the block from interval t is equals to n minus 1 to t is equals to n. That means, suppose this one is the from t is equals to 0 to t is equals to n. Suppose t is equals to 0 to t is equals to n. This distance is S1. Okay. And t is equals to 0 to t is equals to n minus 1. This distance is S2. This distance is S2. So Sn is nothing but S1 minus S2, or Sn is nothing but S1 minus S2. Why? Because it is the distance travelled from the interval t is equals to n minus 1 to t is equals to n. So this much distance Sn is nothing but S1 minus S2. Okay. So Sn can be given as S1 minus S2. Okay. Therefore, or the distance or the displacement travelled by from t is equals to n minus 1, displacement of the particle from t is equals to n minus 1 to t is equals to n is equals to 0 to tn minus 0 to tn minus 1. Okay, or S1 minus S2. So let's substitute the value. let's substitute the value of S1 and S2. S1 we obtained was half n squared g sin theta. The value of S1 was half n squared g sin theta. And the value of S2 is nothing but half n minus 1 square into g sin theta. Okay. Now let's solve it. Or Sn is equals to half g sin theta. G sin theta. We can take this as common. And our remaining is n square minus n minus 1 whole square. N minus 1 whole square. Now we can obtain this n minus 1 whole square. A minus b whole square is equals to a square plus b square minus 2ab, or half g sin theta into n square minus n square plus 1 square minus 2n. Okay. Now see this. Sn becomes half g sin theta, okay, n square minus n square minus 1 plus 2n, or this n square minus n square becomes 0, or Sn is equals to half g sin theta 2n minus 1. Okay, this is our formula for Sn. Now similarly, let's copy this diagram. Okay. Okay. So this was from t is equals to 0 to t is equals to n, and this was the point t is equals to n minus 1. Now Sn was t s1 minus s2, or s up till displacement up till time is equals to n, to displacement up till time is equals to n minus 1. So Sn plus 1 would be something this distance, or time t is equals to n plus 1 to t is equals to n. So the time traveled, let this be s3, or displacement of the particle from 0 to t is equals to n plus 1, which is s3. So Sn plus 1 is nothing but this distance. Sn plus 1 is nothing but s3 minus s1, or time displacement of the particle from t is equals to n to t is equals to n plus 1. Okay, see the question again. Okay, see the question. Sn by Sn plus 1. So Sn plus 1 is nothing but distance or displacement of the particle covered from t is equals to n to t is equals to n plus 1, which is equals to s3 minus s1. Okay, so we know that Sn plus 1 is equals to s3 minus s1. Okay, or Sn plus 1, what is the value of s3? Ut plus half at square. So let's write the value of s3. S3 is nothing but ut plus half at square. Initial velocity is 0. Time is n plus 1. Okay, and a is g sin theta. Or S3 becomes 0 plus half g sin theta into n plus 1 square. Okay, or S3 is equals to half n plus 1 square into g sin theta. I just wrote it in a more beautiful or appealing way. Okay. Now let's solve for Sn plus 1. Sn plus 1 is nothing but S3, which is half n plus 1 square into g sin theta minus of S1, and S1 is nothing but the value of S1 is half n square g sin theta. The value of S1 is half n square g sin theta. See, the value of S1 is half n square g sin theta. So minus half n square g sin theta. Now let's solve for mathematics. Sn plus 1 is equals to half g sin theta n plus 1 square, n plus 1 whole square minus n square. So we can expand this, or Sn plus 1 is equals to half g sin theta. Similarly, n plus 1 square becomes n square plus 1 square plus 2n and minus n square. Okay, so this n square and this n square gets cancelled. Okay, or Sn plus 1 becomes half g sin theta 2n plus 1. Okay, so we get our value of Sn and Sn plus 1. So let's see what was Sn. Sn is equals to half g 2n minus 1, and Sn plus 1 is equals to half g sin theta 2n plus 1. And the question is asking us, find the ratio of Sn by Sn plus 1. Find the ratio of Sn by Sn plus 1. So therefore Sn by Sn plus 1 gives us the value of Sn is nothing but half g sin theta 2n minus 1, half g sin theta 2n minus 1, and Sn plus 1 is nothing but half g sin theta 2n plus 1, or half g sin theta 2n plus 1. So this half g sin theta and this half g sin theta gets cancelled. So our Sn by Sn plus 1 becomes 2n minus 1 to 2n plus 1. Okay, 2n minus 1 to 2n plus 1. Now the correct answer is option number B. The correct answer is option number B. Now one more thing to note out here. In examination hall, you don't need to, you won't be afforded so much time to do lengthy derivation. Okay, won't be afforded so much time to do lengthy derivation. So whenever they ask for Sn, or distance traveled from time t is equals to n to time t is equals to some distance, in our formula S is equals to ut plus half at square, or v is equals to u plus at. Okay, those time, initial of those time and initial of those velocity were taken as 0. Initial of those time were taken as 0, and S is equals to ut plus half at square. The initial displacement was taken as 0, but initial displacement will not always be 0 given in the question. So whenever initial displacement is not equals to 0, just remember this formula. Whenever initial displacement is not equals to 0, remember these two formula. Sn is the displacement for nth second. Okay, is equals to half a into 2n minus 1, 2n minus 1 into, sorry, not into, plus initial velocity. Okay, this one is the distance traveled in the nth second. That means time is equals to t, time is equals to 4 second to time is equals to 5 second. Okay, so distance traveled in 4th second is equals to, out here we substitute n by 4. Okay, similarly Sn plus 1, Sn plus 1 is given by half a into 2n plus 1, 2n plus 1 plus u. Okay, this is our formula. These two formulas you have to remember for competitive edge. Okay, that means whenever the initial displacement is not 0, then you have to apply this formula. When the initial displacement or position, initial position is not 0, okay, in v is equals to u plus at, the initial time was 0. In s is equals to ut plus half at square, the initial time was 0 and the initial displacement was 0, or the initial position was 0. Okay, similarly for v square is equals to u square plus 2as. Okay, so let's wrap up out here.